Low ball bids, unrealistic price tags on their own players in trying to sell players in this transfer market. INEOS is greed. We're going to ask that question today because apparently Ruben Amorim is not happy with the progress. We have 11 days left of the transfer window and still nothing has happened. United are back in today. More talks with Lecce over Patrick Dorgu. They will not meet the 40 million requested transfer fee that Lecce wants. Are we running the risk of losing another target here with what's happening with Garnacho now not looking likely to go to Napoli? Talking about that. Massive blow in the Marcus Rashford transfer situation and moving him on. Ruben Amorim is up against it. Is it any surprise right now that Manchester United's chaos off the pitch is really having an effect on the pitch with the players? It's not. Ruben Amorim yesterday looks a bit deflated. He looked like he was run down. It looked like he was up against it. And let's be honest, he is. Tonight is absolutely massive for Manchester United in the Europa League. I will be there obviously later on, so make sure you're tuned in to Forever United TV for content straight from the press box and in around Old Trafford after this game. Hopefully we're talking about a Manchester United win. I really do hope, because if this week goes wrong and Ruben gets it wrong against Rangers and Fulham on Sunday, you just get that sinking feeling, that horrible feeling. And it's not that the season is going down the pan. Like, I think we've all accepted that. It's what happens with Ruben Amorim at this point. INEOS have got, and what looks like, no intention of getting down to it and taking the loss that's necessary to help their manager. There is money to be made, but they want more. And this is the problem Manchester United are getting. I'm starting with Casemiro today and the situation. Now, Casemiro has gone under the radar in this transfer window over the last 2 weeks simply because of everything else going on. The hope that Rashford was going. Garnacho's leaving. Where did that come from? Manchester United making a signing, none of which are any closer to being finalised, by the way. And right now we're looking at what we thought was a dead cert at the start of the month. Now looking like Manchester United want too much and have priced Casemiro completely out of the market. Once again, you have to look at two big players at this football club that are not featuring. Massive senior figures who have massive influence on this squad and are hampering Ruben Amorim. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS have got anything in them and want to help this coach and this manager, you move the likes of Rashford and Casemiro on at the cost of yourselves. Manchester United, you're the ones who created this. You're the ones that created this backlash now and this financial difficulty. You have to take the hits. Otherwise, you are going to be looking at everybody calling for your coach's head before he's even had a chance to put his imprint and put his players into this squad. It's a joke right now, this football club. It really is in terms of where we're actually at. Why is Ruben not getting the backing he needs? Why is Marcus Rashford still here? What's happening with bringing players in? Why is Casemiro still here? What is going on with that? Now, it looks like, from the Casemiro side of things, this is a player that will help INEOS balance their books massively if they move him on. Take away the transfer fee. Take it out of the equation. Apparently, Manchester United want 30 million for Casemiro. Look, you brought a man in to do a job. You brought Ruben Amorim and said, go and do football. We'll back you on the football side of things. Come in now, otherwise you're not going to be able to come. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave Sporting yet. Come now, though. We'll back you. Come into Manchester United, change this, do what you've got to do. We'll support you through everything. And he's come in and he's done what he's needed to do. He's outed players that aren't putting in enough effort. He's outed players that everybody could see are not working at Manchester United, that maybe don't want to give the maximum effort in training, that aren't good enough on the pitch, that really at the time of their careers now have already done enough at Manchester United. He's wanted this to move forward, knowing in the back of his head he's probably going to get the right amount of backing from INEOS. It's a big thing. They've pulled me away from a dead cert championship winning season in Portugal, and now I'm sat here at Old Trafford and this is going to be Manchester United. It's like he was sold a false dream again. Like, obviously, we can get through this season and get to the summer, but the problem we've got is we've got to get through to the summer yet. We have to make it there to that point. 30 million for Casemiro right now is absolutely ridiculous. You can have your price tag, INEOS, and what you think is right, but go down to the football side of things and the football level and look at it from other football clubs' perspectives. This is a player that came to United for mega money from Real Madrid. And yes, he did well in his first season, but just think about this. If you're looking in on Casemiro, you're thinking, 32. Not featured much this season. New managers come in and all of Manchester United right now is in the media for everything that's going wrong and he's not playing. Is he going wrong right now? Look, you brought this man in to do this job for everyone else can see right now. So you take the punishment financially as long as you're backing your coach. That's what needs to happen right now. 30 million for Casemiro, forget it. Slash it in half. 15, 10 million. You've just got to get him out of the door. You've got to get him out and get that wage off the books. Move him away. There is other options there. Look, he's not playing any games. And where everyone can argue we need to just get the best value possible. Once again, like nobody's getting it. I'm seeing posts on Twitter. I'm seeing big accounts say it. If it was this club, they'd be getting this amount of money. If it was here, look at this player. Look at how much he's going for. Why is it different for Manchester United? Just look at the mess that we're in. Look at what's been created at this football club. It's absolute carnage. I don't think people are understanding the magnitude of what's actually happened here at Manchester United right now and where we're actually at. And I think INEOS are at the top of it. Where I get not bowing over and taking the first bid from certain clubs and things like that. Just understand what you created first. You did this. If Erik ten Hag was here and you was in this summer right now and Casemiro was getting game time, you might be able to move him on. You might be able to get more. But you brought Amorim in to do a specific job. And he can only do that job if you back him. 30 million for Casemiro. Apparently Ruben Amorim, according to reports in Turkey and in Italy that I've seen this morning, is unhappy with what's going on. He's not happy with his performances. He wants him out of the football club. He is not getting game time. He is not going to be used. And I say this again, like when you look at that training session that was there yesterday, and it is just messing around, joking, and everyone is friendly and everyone's happy and it's upbeat on the player side of things, that counts for nothing when it comes to what happens on the pitch. And if Casemiro's unhappy with the coach, Ruben Amorim's unhappy with him, for both players and manager and the rest of this squad right now, and Manchester United's finances, make something happen. Because looking at Casemiro at 32, like, who's not playing, and clearly not in favour with your coach. Yes, your coach that you brought in, you have to help him out. 15 million quid, whatever it takes, move Casemiro on. Look, at this point, it's going to go to the end of the season. What are you going to get at the end of the season? You're going to get nothing because he's not going to feature from now until the end of the season, like I said, because Ruben's not picking him. So Collier's now ahead of him in big games. You've got another midfielder there. Eriksen's ahead of him because he comes on before him as well right now. He's not going to play. There is 4 central midfielders, already 5 in fact if you count Bruno, ahead of Casemiro right now. You need to move him on. You need to make space because I'm telling you what, you look at Casemiro standing, he's an outstanding professional and something has gone wrong. It's not all Casemiro's fault this. Again, it's all created by Manchester United. This whole issue and this whole big development around United and the player power FC, and I'm not even saying that Casemiro's part of that, but he's loved at the football club and he's loved by the squad. He's a go-to for players. I've interviewed Manchester United players that have arrived at this football club that have said that he is the father figure and he's the one that helps people out. He's the one that they go to. He is massively influential. And if you've got that in the dressing room and you've got Ruben Amorim who's not using him, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think everyone's going to be on board? Everything's going to be harmonious? Do you think everything's going to be fantastic? No, it's not. You have caused this issue, INEOS. You made this decision in the summer. Now you're the ones that are going to have to pay for it. Right now, there's only one person taking the stick and the flak. And I've seen Ruben Amorim sat there in that press conference yesterday, just answering questions about the form, about everything. He's been completely honest. And people after the press conference were like, wow, like, is he a little bit too honest? Is totally right down to the bone, like just saying it as it is. And it is an absolute breath of fresh air. But how long will that last? How long will that last? Like the media will just keep going on in it. So, well, yeah, you've been honest, Ruben, but what's happening? What are you doing? Like the win against Southampton, which we grabbed by the scruff of our necks in the last 10 minutes, is the only win in 90 minutes since Manchester City, when we all thought everything was turning. And that day that Marcus Rashford and Garnacho were dropped. And how long ago was that? We're near enough talking about 6 or 7 weeks now since that day. And in that time span, Manchester United have what? One game, which we took literally and scraped over the line against Southampton. That domestically is shocking for Manchester United. And it's quite clear to see that this is not going to improve with this group of players. Now, whether we move Casemiro on or not, I think Manchester United really, if you look at INEOS' side of things on here, have to look at it from the point of view from the manager and the coach. Honestly, right, if they don't, then I don't see anything getting better. I think they don't understand, for me, what it is for an influential player like that, someone with the standing of Casemiro and the influence he has on this team. I don't think they get it. I think it's just a player there. He's a professional. He's been at Real Madrid. He must be all right. Like, we're not going to accept that. Look, we paid this amount of money for him. If you're going to work off Murto figures and Arnold and Eric Ten Hag days, and you're going to use that as your guide, then I give up on INEOS instantly. I thought we were getting a realistic look from INEOS. I thought we were going to be right down bare to the bones. They've been cutthroat with everything else. Why don't you be cutthroat on your own budget as well? And actually just take less money and get the problem out of the door. Because we're not getting anywhere near the Champions League or anywhere near competing unless you make these cutthroat decisions with the squad. And right now, we're not getting that. Right now, we're getting absolutely nothing. We're just skirting around the edges and making it look like we're dealing with issues right now. And all of the time, we're seeing a coach that we know has got the capabilities of turning his team around and getting more from this squad, that understands what is important at Manchester United, that understands how big culture is at a football club. And you're not backing him. We are 11 days away, and nothing, absolutely nothing has happened in this transfer window. And, you do start to think and start to have a little bit of a panic about what is going to happen at Manchester United now and what is going to happen in the rest of this window. And that, for me, is the biggest problem in all of this. That, for me, I think, right now, is my concern. Like, the season as it is and where we're actually at. Like, I'm petrified right now as to what's going to happen from now until the end of the season. I'm worried about tonight. It's Rangers at home. Like, seriously, that concerning massively. Anyway, let's get into the chat first of all on this situation around Casemiro. What is the price you're taking for Casemiro? Am I being over the top? Am I being unrealistic? I think 15 million, 10 million, just get rid of him. Make it work. The Angry Beaver just gifted a membership. Thank you. Super chat in from you got Ross. United tearing up a get out of jail card. Sorry, from the Saudi Pro League. Incredibly frustrating. Sorry about that. Then it wasn't anything that you got, Ross. That was just me reading that out. Let's see what else we've got in this one here. Robbie says, United don't need a cycling guru who just add more problems to an already problematic business model. Rashford has done it for us so often and needs help. He's a scapegoat exaggerated by vloggers that hate him. No one knows his attitude or mindsets. Are you serious, ATKO? Like, serious right now? This is I'm not even going to go into it. No. Sorry, I have to disagree with that one. Rashford is a massive problem at this football club. A massive problem. And he has been. When you've got people like Andy Mitten, the most respected journalist in and around Manchester United, and trust me on this, he is. When he comes out and when he says that this player has been a problem for every manager he's worked under, there is a problem with Marcus Rashford. When he cannot make training because he's been out drinking, he is a problem. When he can't own up to his mistake to the fans, he is a problem. When a coach says if you train hard and work hard, you will get in this team guaranteed, and then goes missing for 10 games, he is a problem. He is a massive problem. You only have to look at the videos. You only have to look at what he has said. You only have to look at what the managers have said. And everybody in the press, like, he is a problem, mate. You cannot get away from it. You can talk about scapegoat all you want and what you want, and people will always try and use that to defend him. But actions speak louder than words. And there is nothing coming from this man at all. And that's the problem. That is the problem with him right now. There's nothing to back him up on the pitch. There's nothing to back him up off it. Mr. Dacius, and morning. Adam, is it true that we are looking at Jack Grealish? I've seen that story last night. Forget that story. That's not going to happen. That is complete and utter bull. It came from the Sun. Don't believe any of it. Trust me. It won't happen. United will not be buying a City player. And they won't be buying a City player that is touching 30 for the price that they would want for him. Forget it. Not happening. Let's see what's about. Christopher Hooper, good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Hope you're well too. What's we've got in here? Quite a lot of people in the chat actually this morning with an opinion on this. Let's see. What's Casemiro's book value? Half of his transfer fee. Yeah, the book value is book value. This is why United are not bidding higher to Lecce for Patrick Dorgu. Look, the actual market value for players is never what gets paid, is it? Very, very, very rare circumstances you would get maximum book value for a player. It doesn't work that way. Stats dictate a lot of player value. Age dictates it. Everything comes into it when you look at player value and market value, and it isn't realistic in my eyes at all. So I would look at this and say, look, no, when it comes to book value for Casemiro, he hasn't featured all season near enough. The age that he is, he's not worth that money. You have to be realistic with it. And if he isn't, Sir Jim Radcliffe and INEOS do go down this road, then we are in big trouble. Because it just means that Ruben has to deal with a player he doesn't want. Again. Honestly, you must have had an idea. When you gave Ruben the reins and you told him to go in and do what he does, which he has done, and then you don't back him, and you think you can get away with the repercussions of that and carry on till the end of the season, wow, that is poor management. That is very poor management. More needs to be done. It's as simple as that. Let's see what we've got in here quickly before we move on. Too many Rashford groupies in the United podcast world. To them, Rashford can walk across the river Irwell and it's Ruben's fault. Absolute bollocks, they're saying there. Look, the opinions are always going to be divided around Marcus Rashford. Everyone thinks he has been made a scapegoat. Everyone thinks, a lot of people do think that it is his own fault. Look, at the end of the day, look, is he working for our manager? No, take everything else out of the equation. Ruben Amorim isn't using him for a reason. And if he's not using him, I'm looking at this from INEOS' perspective here and their point of view. Like, forget about everything that Rashford's done in the past and the scapegoat and everyone going in on him and using him as the excuse. Forget that. Rashford's got a clean slate right now with Ruben and it's not working. So something is wrong. For the sake of United, for the sake of the fan base, for the sake of everybody involved in this, just take the hit and move on. Look, you gave Rashford this wage. It's not his fault he doesn't want to take a pay cut. You can argue all the point on the personal side of things, like I just said, but just cut that out a minute. Just cut that out of the equation a minute. He's been paid what he is because of Man United, not because of Marcus Rashford. Some people who argue what Rashford did doesn't warrant the wage that he's on. So that's on United, not Marcus Rashford. You have to deal with this situation right now. You have to deal with what you've created, and you've created Ruben against a Rashford. You have, because you knew what Ruben was going to do when he came in. This is why you brought him in. So you have to deal with this, not him. Unfortunately, it looks that way because news that we're hearing today is that Ansu Fati has told Hansi Flick he is not going anywhere in January. Why is that significant for Marcus Rashford and United? Well, we know from reports that Barcelona need to move players on. One of the big hopes about Marcus Rashford leaving is going to Barcelona. That's where he wants to go as well, but they cannot afford him. So it was down to them moving players on. It was down to them actually selling the likes of Garcia, selling Fati, but Fati doesn't want to move. He has told Hansi Flick now, and that report has come out last night. And unfortunately for Manchester United, that means another player that is going to block the move for Marcus Rashford. And now Barcelona, as well as AC Milan, looks completely off the table. So that's Napoli, AC Milan, Juventus, and now Barcelona looks out of the equation. Now, we heard about Marseille coming in for Marcus Rashford and that being a possibility, but that's a bit of a pipe dream as well, apparently. That's not going to happen. So we're stuck. We're stuck at a crossroads with him right here, right now. And what I was told yesterday is there is a big PR push from Marcus Rashford's side to make it look like he is involved at United. It would be very interesting, and I'm not saying this is a definite, but I was told don't expect him to be in the matchday squad again tonight, even though he's training. If that is the case, then there's no bigger clue to INEOS that this is not going to work. You've had all of the illness excuses. You've had all of the training on his own. He's now back training with the first team squad. He is available. And if Ruben does not pick him when we're crying out for an actual forward in our team and someone who can score goals, then there was a massive issue in this football club and in this squad and what's happening at Carrington. And there's only INEOS who can rectify it. Pay what's necessary for his wages. Otherwise, you're going to have a manager that's got him sat on the sidelines paying his full wages. What's better? Subsidising and paying a bit of Marcus Rashford's wages and watching his price maybe go up, playing for somebody else? Or Marcus Rashford has to be integrated into a coach that clearly doesn't want him and isn't going to give everything? and he's not going to play him, and he's going to be sat on the bench or sat in the stands earning full money. Just get rid of him. Like, pay over half of his wages. Get him out of the football club. Concentrate on the football. We know that Rashford's not going to be sold right now. We know that we need to get more for him. We understand this. But the important thing is he's salvaging this season. And if Ruben is going to be undermined, if he's going to be put in a situation where you've got players like Rashford who are causing a problem at Carrington, like, he's a coach. He's a top-class coach who wants to coach players. If there is any unrest on the training ground, he's not going to be able to do his job properly. And it all comes down to INEOS and call it their greed. Is it greed that they want so much? Really, right now, that the news about Fati not... And I was never confident that Barcelona would get Marcus Rashford. I mean, Barcelona themselves right now, I mean, on the pitch, yes, great. Off the pitch, they're an absolute joke. They really are. And I just don't get it. I never got the Barcelona move. I never thought it was going to be the right one for Marcus Rashford. And I just think it was... I think it was massively unrealistic. He's never going to fit into that team. He's not going to get them out of game time to actually be worth anything to Manchester United in the summer. Barcelona were never going to afford him. I think he's just on a massive ego trip, thinking that he can actually just waltz into that Barcelona side and get game time. Look, Marcus Rashford, I want to do well. I want him to go away and play well. Go to Dortmund, play football, get better, get your value up, and then you could maybe get that Barcelona move in the summer if you've done well. Right now, like Hansi Flick, looking at where he is in La Liga, looking at what he's doing in the Champions League, looking at the options that he's got, is he going to drop any of his forwards for Marcus Rashford? I'm sorry. I don't think so. Let's have a look at the front three, shall we? Where does Marcus Rashford fit in? Lewandowski. Yeah, let's not even go there. Yamal? I don't think so. And yeah, Rafinha having the season of his life, supposedly up for a £100 million bid from Man City, maybe. No, you're not replacing him. He's got 20 plus goals this season. So where's he going to fit in? No, I would argue the point that Ansu Fati is probably more valuable to Barcelona than Marcus Rashford right now. And they're trying to get him out. That's the reality. I challenge anyone to argue that point, but there's no way that Rashford gets into that Barcelona side. He's unrealistic, and I think it is just a non-starter. Fati not wanting to move, hopefully this just gives Manchester United and Marcus Rashford time now. Right, okay, we're not waiting for Barcelona. Let's just go and try and make something happen. What do you want to do, Marcus? There's Dortmund. It looks like possibly Garnacho's not going to Napoli now because they're going to get Adeyemi, as we reported last night. And maybe that's the opportunity for Marcus Rashford to go into Dortmund. A space left there by Adeyemi. And a little bit of money for them to afford Marcus Rashford. Pay over half his wages. Pay what you've got to pay just to get him out of the football club and gone. And then we'll look at it from there. I think that's what Manchester United need to be doing right now. I think this is why this club is just festering. It really is. It's a shame. It's devastating for all Manchester United fans, but we are going absolutely nowhere right now unless big decisions are made. We cannot just write a season off. Like league-wise, yeah, let's just get as far as we can up the league. But I'm talking about tonight. The Rangers game is huge for Manchester United. It's absolutely massive. And it just looks like, to me, INEOS are just in their own world and don't get what is going on. They'll look at it and go, why is this happening? Look at the results. This is drastic. Why is the changing room being smashed up? Why is Ruben coming to a press conference calling them the worst Manchester United side in history, then having to come back in the next press conference and say it wasn't that? Well, no, he was saying it's the worst team in Manchester United's history on paper because the table doesn't lie. Look where we actually are. It's shocking. You have to act on it. You do. Anyway, that was my little rant regarding INEOS and the situation right now. God, that went on a little bit too long. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's get your thoughts on that, though, quickly before we move on, because we have got updates on other things as well, especially in the incoming side of things. We're going to get into that next. But INEOS needs a change of thinking. History and legacies can only take us that far. We need to be more realistic in our targets when negotiating. We are no longer considered the ideal destination. And that is actually a fair point. Like I said this last night, if you're a player looking at United, you will have reservations right now, won't you? I believe a full reset is in progress. The problem we have is that is adding to an ongoing nightmare. Big short-term pain, I think, for big-ass long-term gain, I think, is where we're at right now. All Radcliffe cares about is a new stadium for his vanity project. He doesn't care about the football side of it. INEOS out. I think he does have a football side of it in mind. I do. I think he does want United to be back at the top because he wants to own the best. He wants to be seen there as Manchester United lifting trophies. I just don't think he's got to grips with what's actually going on right now and how difficult a job Ruben Amorim has got. And if he thought that he could just bring this manager in and these players start performing under him, I mean, no, I thought these players were worth more. I gave the players a little bit of credit. I thought, you know what, we can challenge under Ruben Amorim. Get to grips with his system. Stupid me thought that these players were professional enough to actually adapt to a new system in football. You know that game, football, that they've been playing all their lives and been paid multi-millions of pounds for? You know, I just work on a different system. Yeah. I actually took it for granted that these guys would actually be able to do it. Oh, God. How wrong was I? I had to take a massive L on that. So I haven't got no time for any of these players anymore until they start performing. And I think they know it. Harry Maguire pretty much said it yesterday, and credit to Harry. Look, don't expect the fans to be right behind you and listening to every word you're saying until you start putting it out on the pitch. And everyone knows that at Manchester United. We don't care right now. Just show us. Talking is cheap. And there's a lot of it going on right now, but nothing is happening at all. That's on and off the pitch. Rashford is living in his fairy tale, which is our nightmare, says Morgan. Almark, if Radcliffe is a United fan, why does he have a Chelsea season ticket? It's all about corporate bollocks, that, I think, to be honest. I think that's where his offices were. He was going to buy Chelsea, by the way. When I try to play devil's advocate, read Bruno, the result is always insults. It's just another opinion that isn't fact, but derived from what a fan sees. In my honest opinion, Bruno's key. But Adam, you said Man United had best in class. Yeah, we do. Omar Barada is the best in class. Vival is known to be the best in class. INEOS said, and Sir Jim Radcliffe said, he's going to employ the best in class. But at the end of the day, the decision comes down to him. Why are we not moving on these deals? This is the best of what we could get off the pitch. So if they're not being able to do their jobs properly because of the rule of the leader, then again, it comes down on Sir Jim Radcliffe and INEOS. You know what, and their expectations. If Sir Jim Radcliffe's going to come in and be the leader in getting rid of Dan Ashworth, who we thought was the best in class, looking at these figures and this data and not being happy about certain decisions being made, we need to be cutthroat with a lot more. Well, you're going to have to cutthroat with your pocket, mate, and getting rid of some of these players. It's all right trying to run a business right, but again, if the business hasn't got a decent brand and it hasn't got anything on the product-wise, then it's not going to make money no matter what you do or how much you try and save. It's the old phrase, isn't it? You can't polish a turd. Flush it, start again. That's wrong, I'm sorry. Hate to break it to you, Adam. INEOS is looking like Glazer 2.0. You bring a manager and no backing when there is opportunity. No planning leads to this. Yeah, I get it, mate. I do. Sanjeet says, with another super chat, thank you for the super chats, everyone. Appreciate that. Keep an eye on Skade to Dortmund. Number 1 means no Rashford to Dortmund. 2, Brentford demanding 50 million plus, while we can't get 40 million for either Rash or Garner. I don't think Skade is going to Dortmund for that amount of money. There's not a chance that Dortmund would pay that amount of money for anybody, to be honest. So no, that's not going to happen, I don't think. If we do not sell Bruno now to fund the rebuild, to rebuild the team, then we are still not serious at rebuilding. So it's kind of counterproductive in what you said there, Emmanuel. You're saying we need to get rid of Bruno because he's not good enough. So who is going to pay the amount of money for Bruno Fernandes to do the rebuild if he's not good enough? Clearly that's going back into the conversation we just had. You're saying Bruno's not good enough and we need to sell him to rebuild. Well, if he isn't good enough, how much are you actually going to get for him to actually rebuild? It doesn't make sense. Block says, with another super chat, thank you. Hi Adam, how was Obi Martin looking yesterday? First team getting close. Would love to see him get some minutes this season. What are his chances? Look, he scored. He did well. I think the question is, I'm speaking to the media, and a few of the media have actually been watching the academy yesterday. They're still not convinced, and I hate to put the dampener on it. They're still not convinced. And I was told, actually, in Obi Martin's case, like, he is doing well this season. He is a baller, I think, and he will be the one that breaks through. But is he going to be able to do it? And now the media are always sceptical, and they're always going to be this way, and they're always going to look at what if. But is he going to be able to bully players when he comes up against a player that's just as big, just as strong, and just as quick at the back? Has he got anything extra in his game? Because right now he's bullying his way right to the top of the elite level at the academy side, in the academy side of things. So that, I think, is where we've got to look at real-wise. Can he make that step up? And this is where I think United need to be very, very careful with these players and bringing them through as well. But he's doing everything right. He's at under 21 level now at the age of 17. So that's something that we need to look at. So you're looking at players there that have got pretty much a five-year sort of start on him, or development-wise. And he's competing at that level now. So that is a good sign. I think we may see him this season still. I think there is a good chance going off what's happening. And by the end of the transfer window, and knowing what we've got left squad-wise, I think we'll start to know. Until owners leave Arsenal, United, nothing will change. But at least we are second in the league and third in the Champions League. Yeah, you are, Zane, but you've still not won anything. But thanks for the super chat. It's a good point, no, he is right. Like, you'd rather be in Arsenal's situation than United's right now. It pains me to say it, but he is right. There's not much more. We can only go banter so far. Well over 1,700 in the room, everybody. How have we only got 261 likes? Please give the video a like. Let's get them numbers up, everyone. We should at least have 500, shouldn't we? Get onto it. Tragave, I think I've said that right. Thank you. First super chat, thank you very much. Hi Adam, it's scary to see what we have become. We just laugh when we talk about players who could have come to us easily before. We are a mediocre club. Yeah, I think it's nail on the head again. Everyone is on point today. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the super chats, everybody. Keep them coming in. I want to move on with the Patrick Dorgu news and where we're actually at with that. Now, everybody is reporting about this regarding Dorgu. Romano himself this morning, amongst other sources, have basically broke it down. Chris Wheeler as well from the Daily Mail, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there. Manchester United, it's understood Manchester United are preparing a new proposal for Lecce. For Lecce's Patrick Dorgu, not expected to reach the €40 million price tag yet, but United will try and advance after $27 million opening proposal was turned down. Dorgu keen on the move, no issue on potential contract. So Dorgu's agreed to join United. He wants to move to United. Contract is no issue at all from his side. So that's that done, wrapped up. It's just another day of talks today. Ben Jacobs has been talking about this move as well. And he's been also going into it. Like, United will talk this morning again with Dorgu, for Dorgu with Lecce representatives. They do need to get a bit closer. And this is the whole thing. Are United lowballing clubs right now? I mean, we're getting lowballed, yes. But, again, it comes back to the circumstances that United are in. We're kind of desperate. And you have to understand the game. If you were Manchester City, if you were a club doing well, you could probably go in there and just argue the point and say, look, we're comfortable enough, no problem at all. But United, again, like I said before, if you're going to do this with players coming in, do it with players going out. And maybe this is the case. If they get a good deal for Dorgu, then they may look at that and go, well, we've got him cheaper than what we thought. We can maybe let Marcus Rashford go for certain wages, or let Casemiro go for a certain price. It's just... right now, I feel like Dorgu is going to happen still, but I am concerned. Hopefully we hear more on the Garnacho and Napoli situation today as well, because that is key in all of this, I think, as well. And we're still in exactly the same situation. Still in exactly the same place as we was before with that one, so we need to get moving on with this. I think United's price for Patrick Dorgu, going off what reports are saying, so to break it down in pound sterling terms, Lecce want approximately 34 million for him. United won't go there. I think United are going to be in around about 28, 29. They won't go above 30 million, I don't think. And that's the price that they're willing to pay. So let's see if that happens. Like I said yesterday, I was told by Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, from their understanding and the figures that are out there and what's been put on the table, United can make Dorgu happen without selling players. So PSR is not an issue in spreading the cost of Dorgu, the wages that he will be on. This is a deal that they can make happen easily. Well, not easily, but comfortably within the PSR structure for this financial year. So we don't need to sell anybody to bring Dorgu in. Anthony going and wages saved there is probably his first 6 months' wages covered in terms of what we're actually losing for Anthony and his wages. To put it in perspective, Manchester United paying just over half of Anthony's wage. They're actually saving enough from what his normal wage would be to pay Dorgu for the rest of this season, probably on the contract that he's on. Obviously, it still would come down to selling Anthony permanently in the summer to make it. But in terms of the financial year, if you get what I mean, Dorgu's wages would still be covered, even with United paying more than half of Anthony's wages. So it shows you what Anthony's on and how much money's been wasted by this football club throughout the years. Staggering, absolutely staggering. But I feel like this deal and where it's at and what's been said now is definitely an advanced stage of, and confidence is within Manchester United. Talking to journalists yesterday, it all seems like this deal is going to happen. United are in a very comfortable position. It would be, I think at this point, a bit embarrassing if United didn't get this done. I do think it would be that case. £150 bet, we win at Old Trafford. Shut up, Zane. That's a crap bet. Like, how about actually being realistic about it and stop taking the mick? Come on, change your bet, mate. Give me something better than that. Oh, God. How about £50 bet you don't win the league? I think that's about as realistic as yours. Come on, you got to do better, mate. I think everyone would laugh at that bet. Everyone would say, yeah, easy money's in, mate. Right now, and that's United fans talking. Good God. Gotta love Arsenal fans giving money to a United channel. Zane's a classic. He's a star. I love him. He is good banter, and it is all in good jest as well. So I've not got a problem with it at all. I love having other fans on. They have a realistic outlook on what's going on, and it's not as much red tinted of what we would be. Other news as well, and it develops, I think, the news. So I go into detail a little bit more. So I'll look into the Barcelona situation for Ansu Fati and bring that news up, because if he doesn't leave, Rashford doesn't go. I look at all of the information going around the transfer world and all of the clubs, not just what's there and what's been said in the news. I like to do a little bit of digging, as you all know, and go into a bit more context. But the issue that I've got right now is one that's going to happen in the summer, and what I want to talk about in the likes of Victor Gyökeres. Now, I've mentioned this before, and I've talked about Manchester United losing their targets because of what we've said, financial reasons, not having much to offer the players, as in no European football. How are you going to make that player come to you when there's better options out there right now? How is that going to work for that player? You've literally holding on to hope that the history of Manchester United, the great Manchester United, the coach and what he's done before and what he's won and how he's transformed players. But that's it. That's it. Maybe a nice little pay packet, but that's not really there anymore with INEOS anyway. We're not paying absolute Brewster wages anymore. So that realistically is the problem. And right now, looking at the Newcastle situation and what they have to do for PSR and Isaac right now, in all of the rumour going around for him, he has got some serious people hunting him down. And Newcastle are actively looking at other strikers in the case that they do sell Alexander Isaac. And that one of them players is Victor Gyökeres. Now, I'm only using Newcastle as an example here because this is what's going to happen with other clubs as well. This is the last year of this PSR structure. It's going to change in 25-26 of that season into the squad ratio PSR rule. I'm not going to get into that now. It benefits United a little bit more, but only if United are actually being successful on the pitch. I'll talk about more at the time because it's irrelevant right now because we're in this PSR cycle and it is still the old rule. So this summer, there's going to be a lot of shaking around and a lot of movement with big clubs getting big players from other rival clubs as well. I mean, the reason Manchester United are even contemplating Garnacho going to Chelsea is so they can balance their own books. The only reason Arsenal, Liverpool are going to Newcastle for Alexander Isak is because they know that Newcastle are in a predicament with PSR. It is having a massive effect right now. Newcastle can hold on to hope that they get Champions League football, and then they won't have to sell Isak probably because of the riches that come into the Champions League. Unfortunately, 2 seasons ago when Newcastle were in the Champions League, where that money was big and there was a lot there, it's nothing compared to what this season's Champions League is offering, and them teams being in the Champions League from here on in going forward. That's the difference in finances. Newcastle being in the Champions League next season would give them room to not have to sell Alexander Isak. If they're not, you're going to get the Arsenals, the Liverpools and other big European clubs coming for Isak. And they will have to sell big players to deal with PSR for this last year of this structured setup with the financial fair play rules. So that is concerning. Then they would go to Gyökeres and say, look, Europa League football, we're offering you this much, this amount of contract. United haven't got that type of money unless they sell the likes of Garnacho. And that leads us back into that situation again and where we're at and debating amongst ourselves as United fans whether this is a good move or not for Garnacho to leave. Just look at what every other football club is doing right now. Take your red-tinted Nostalgia FC Man United glasses off and understand where we're at. We are a selling club. We've always been a selling club. We do sell academy players. I still remember the day when it was uproar that Sir Alex Ferguson would let an academy player go like Keith Gillespie just to get someone from Newcastle like Andy Cole. And then look what happened. Sometimes you have to sacrifice for the better. If it isn't a future player that's going to be absolutely tearing it apart and it's clear that he is that type of player, then you have to think realistic with it. And I think that's the situation we're in with Ghana right now. And that situation is only going to intensify, I feel, over these coming days. I still feel like by weekend we should have a verdict on Garnacho with Napoli at least. Chelsea, like Romano said last night, just to keep you updated on that situation, Chelsea are still thinking about coming in for Alejandro Garnacho. That is still an option for them. And we could see that happen in this month as well. That is realistic. United would have a world of options in the transfer market then if that happened. And you've seen it, like Sky reported last night, and all of the football finance people have been in and said it. If Chelsea came in for Garnacho, bought him for 60 million, that would be £180 million worth of PSR money to spend freely for Manchester United. You could get 4 first-team 11 players with that money for Garnacho, who isn't a first-team regular right now. When you say it like that, does it not make more sense? Do you have to take your Manchester United cap off for a moment and say, is this for the better of Ruben Amorim and Manchester United moving forward? That's the big part about it. 180 million? And people said that United couldn't spend money in the summer. We didn't have enough. It was about 100 million tops at a push. And we spent over, 200 million? Well, you know why, don't you? Hannibal Megdre, Scott McTominay, Mason Greenwood, Willie Cambuella. All of these players, adding up to the value that they did, got Manchester United that PSR loophole and that freedom to spend money. It wasn't a case of Scott McTominay being pushed out simply because we needed a holding midfielder like Eric Ten Hag said. Look, United sold Scott McTominay because that opened up the PSR loophole to go and buy Manuel Ugarte for the 50 plus million that we bought him for. I think that was a sensible move. Yes, Scott's gone on and he's doing well over there. You can't look at that. You have to look at what's good for you. And Manuel Ugarte, I don't think any Man United fan right now has got a problem with what he's doing. He's doing fantastically well for Ruben Amorim, I think. And I think he's really unlucky right now. So, this is the Garnacho situation and where we're at. And we will keep you up to date with everything that's going on with that throughout the day. Obviously, it is going to be a big one. But just to update you on that, if you weren't watching last night, Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea is a concrete possibility. This is Romano. Chelsea are really considering making a bid. He is valued at 60 million. Chelsea could make the bid in the next hours or days. This is after Romano also broke the news that there's an agreement in place between Dortmund and Napoli for Adieme to go to Napoli. instead of Garnacho. So Napoli are already getting concerns about this deal not happening and are acting because there's only 11 days left to get another player in. Now, Napoli still want Garnacho. Antonio Conte is that's his top target still. He still wants him. But United have to budge on the price a bit for it to make it happen. Are they waiting to see if Chelsea come in to see what they offer? And then we do have to have that other conversation about selling one of our own gun players to a local, or not a local route, to a rival in the Premier League. That's going to be painful. That is going to be painful. But United also would benefit from this, and it is for the greater good. That's how it's being looked at. That's the reality of Manchester United's transfer situation right now. And that pretty much is you completely up to date, everybody, with everything that is going on at United right now. Please give the video a like. That will take us up over 400. We've had well over 1,800 in the room for most of that show. Absolutely love you all. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel, please, everybody. Keep your bell notification on as well. We're on the march. We're nearly, 90 away from that 72k mark. 75 is our next target, 3/4 of the way there to that silver play 100,000 subscriber mark. Thank you for all your contributions. Thank you for all the support as always, everybody. Love you all. Epic show yet again. I will be back around lunchtime today as well. Keep, like I said, your bell notifications are switched on so you know when the content's coming. Up today, expecting some developments. Obviously, we've got the road trip leading in. I'm in the press box tonight for the game against Rangers, so that's going to be really interesting what happens there. Hopefully, it's a good night for United. I really do hope it's a good night. But it is game day, everybody, and time to get excited again, or maybe not, for Manchester United playing. But hey, look, I will have you up to date with everything that's going on at the football club. Massive thank you to all the contributors today. Epic, thank you so much. New members, new subscribers, welcome to Forever United TV. I will see you all a little bit later on. Thank you.